Hello and welcome to the Eugene Torta YouTube channel. And I want to thank everybody that subscribed so far. And if you haven't subscribed, go down there, subscribe, notification bell, share, all that good stuff. Help the channel grow. Hopefully one day I'll get monetized and that will help pay for all these projects I do. But today's project is going to be starting on the Diff, getting the Diff out of this Corvette. I have other videos on the Diff. I'll leave links to that. And also, I will be using this for the first time. This is a Earthquake XT. Let me see, I think it has a model number on here. I don't have the box with me, but it's EQ12SXT, half-inch ultra-compact air impact wrench. I did a review of the other Earthquake, which was the $20 less model, which isn't the XT, and that was like 500 foot-pounds torque, and this is like 700 foot-pounds of torque. And the box, I think it says it's lighter, but to me it feels heavier, or it ain't as well balanced. And I did run it. I haven't used it to unloosen a nut or anything like that, but I have ran it, and it seems like it vibrates more. But won't know until I put a socket on it and break a nut loose. But getting to breaking nuts loose, I'll get underneath the car here and show you what's needed to be done. Hopefully I can get under the car here and you'll be able to see this, I hope. Let's see. Alright. Hold the butt under there. Lighting. And I'll try and show everybody what needs to be done here. Hopefully you can see all this. But we're removing the Dana 36, and I already have the leaf spring off. Of course, the car is on jack stands, and the wheels are off, the leaf spring is off, the exhaust is off. You got to remove the exhaust, runs underneath the differential. You will have to remove it. If you have the stock exhaust, you should only have to remove the cat back. That's on 91 through 84s. After that, I think the LTs, I never worked on one of the LT versions of the C4 Corvette, but you may have to remove from the whole exhaust, because the headers, I believe, are, or the catalytic converters are up further, and they don't have the single catalytic converter like the L98s do. But anyway, getting back to this, one of the things that will have to be removed is I'll have to undo the universal joint for the drive shaft and the half shafts. Hopefully you guys can see that in there and in there. And then to get the half shafts out, I will have to remove that right there. That's the tie rod ends for the rear on both sides. And the reason you're going to need to remove that is you're going to need to pull out the carrier right there that carries the wheel bearings and the disc and all that. And going to have to remove this lower control arm. You could just unbolt it here, or unbolt it here, just unbolt it here, and just swing everything out of your way when you lower it out. I prefer to remove it here and then bring everything out together, and then I can take all this apart once I get it out from under the car. Got to do both sides, and of course there's the C-beam bolts. Let me see if I can get a light under there, and hopefully you guys can see that. These here, those have to come off. And then once all that's off and unbolted, I will lower this out using a jack. You can use a jack. I'm using a transmission jack for this to remove it. And lower it down and take it out of the car and slide it out the back of the car. They're not that heavy, but if you're working alone, it always helps to have another person. And if you have two people, you don't even really need a transmission jack. You could literally just lift it out. These aren't that heavy, believe it or not, for a differential. Once everything's disconnected, you're talking, 75, 80 pounds maybe. So one person on each side of this bat wing, and the bat wing is held up by, let's see if I can show you, get some light on the subject, that nut there on each side of the car. So hopefully everybody can see all this. And one thing I should point out, and everybody has their own method for removing these. See if I can get some better light on here. Hopefully you guys can see that. But whenever you remove like a tie rod end like this, it's a tapered fit, and a lot of people just hammer on this and hope it pops up. If it's been on there since the car was new, it's probably might even be corroded on. I prefer undo the cotter pin and let me see if I can get better light. Undo the cotter pin, undo this nut, and then I put the nut down almost all the way so these crowns are sticking past the end of the bolt. And then I'll use a puller like this, stick that up there inside the castle nut, hook these on, and use that way, and pop it off that way. I prefer that way because these are aluminum and I don't like beating on them with a hammer. You're just going to damage them, and you could knock it up that way. I mean, if you're replacing these tie rod ends, it don't really matter. You could just damage that bolt on the end and just hammer it out. But I still prefer using a puller. It's less damaging, I feel, and it works well. I've always had good results with it. So that's something to keep in mind. But I don't know how much of this I'm going to film taking it out, but I'll try and do some, and I'll get to use that XT and let you know how that is. I think probably the biggest bolt that I'll be using that XT on is this bolt right here. So you can see that good. Yeah, I can't remember what those are torqued to. I don't have the manual with me, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But these bolts I remember, or these aren't the factory ones, but the factory ones get torqued to 187 foot-pounds, believe it or not. That's to keep this camber from moving. These are not the factory ones. These are aftermarket camber brackets, and on the factory camber bracket, when you rotate this moves the lower control rod in and out. These are not the factory lower control arms either. These are what they call smart struts. These you adjust just by loosening these nuts on each end and just turning the whole bar in the middle, and that adjusts your camber in and out on the rear wheels. The factory one, it's one piece aluminum and there's no adjustment. You use the camber. On this aftermarket one, this actually doesn't adjust in and out. This actually moves this lower control arm up and down to change the relationship between the upper control arm, and if you're not familiar with this type of differential, the half shaft is the upper control arm, and that reduces the amount of camber change as the wheel goes through its arc. The wheel goes through its complete motion up and down the entire ride height of the suspension, and you can adjust it for various reasons. I'm not a specialist on adjusting your suspension. That's usually something you would do for track use. It does reduce the amount of change in camber by having it all the way down, which helps keep your tire square with the road, which increases traction. Now there's other people that say that that's good for one thing, bad for another. So I'm just, like I said, no specialist on it. I know I did notice a small increase in traction coming out of turns and launching with that on there, so that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, I'm going to get back to doing this, and maybe I'll record as much of it as I can getting out, at least using the XT, but I'll get back to you here shortly, and maybe I'll just fire up the XT on this nut here, get that out of the way, and I'll be back. Alright, here I am underneath the car, well, off to the side of the car anyway. I have the cotter pin out, and I'm going to remove that nut and that nut. I think we're going to do the big heavy one first, see how that makes out. And I got my Earthquake XT here. We'll see how that does. It'll be the first time using it. So hopefully it is good. And let's see here. Got a wrench on that side. It's all wrong size there. There we go. That's better. Okay, let's see how this sucker does. Alright, that wasn't bad at all. Yeah. Let's see if I can use it to drive that out. And that came right out, so I have to say I'm very happy about that. Washer over here. We'll worry about that later. Anyway, remember to keep all your washers and nuts together. And we'll go on to this. One thing I should tell you about is it's freezing out here in the garage, and it does affect the performance of air tools. They don't perform as well. And sometimes you'll have any moisture in a line will cause freeze up too. If this was summertime, this would probably perform even better. Yep, and I have to say that was super easy. These only get torqued to like 35 foot-pounds, so that's not amazing that came off that easy. Now, like I said, I'm going to show you how I remove these. This might just pop off. It's been off in the past and it's been properly lubricated. I'll just get the nut up there properly. Then I'm going to get this hooked on here. And I'm not going to use the impact on this. I'm just going to use a ratchet wrench. And hope this works. Ta-da! And there she goes. Take the nut off. You hear that sucker snap? That's when you know it's off. And voila. I'll put that right back on there so I don't lose it. That's all there is to it. Now getting this out is sometimes can be difficult. Let's see if it wants to cooperate or not. I'm going to have to pry it out. Probably. Let me get a pry bar under there. There we go, one pry bar. I don't know if that'll fit under there. In case no one's ever seen one before, this is a solid bronze pry bar. And there's an airplane out there. It's flying low, apparently. Woo. There we go. Don't lose your spacers when these take those out. I feel like it's got some play in it. I have to inspect these. Yeah. That was torqued right, or is this a lot of play in there? Nope. I'll take care of that during reassembly. But now when I go to undo the caps that hold the universal joints on, I should be able to pull this out. If you ever do this and it gives you difficult pulling out, sometimes you may have to unconnect the sway bar link and sometimes the shock. Can't remember if I had to last time or not, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. It's no big deal. So I hope everybody's seen this in the video, and I hope it was helpful. I'll get to doing the rest. If I remember correctly, there is no way to get here with an impact. I should be able to get in there with like my either my air-powered ratchet or whatnot, and then you knock that nut off. But that's gonna, these two here. Let me see if I can get a better view of that, what I'm showing here. This nut here, best way to get in there is for like a wrench or a ratchet, open box wrench. But and then take that off. That'll be the last thing to come off. This one on this side and the one on the other side. Like I said, I can't remember if I had to remove these links or not from the sway bar in order to pull this out. I probably did. And the same goes for the shock too, the lower shock mount. So hopefully you guys are seeing all that. But if I do, I'll let you know. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'll get to doing that. And hope this was helpful if you're watching this. And I don't know, maybe I'll get to doing the rest. I got to get to the other side and everything else, get that all off. But we'll find out here shortly as the video goes on. Okay, here I am back under the car, and hopefully everybody can see this. I did end up taking off the link for the sway bar, and as you can see, this is moving out quite a bit. That should be enough to get the drive shaft out. I do have the caps off for the let me get this back in view here so you guys can see this. I do have the caps off the universal joints, so I should be able to pull that out and get that half shaft out. Let's see how lucky I get. I'm going to get some light in better position here. Okay. Woo. Okay. Here we go. Now be careful not to lose the caps for your universal joints. These actually feel really tight and good. I was going to replace them. Maybe I won't. Yeah, they're real good actually. So I'll probably just leave them in there. But these are Spicer universal joints, by the way. You get those from Denny's Drive Shaft. I left links in some of my other videos, and I'll probably leave it in this video. But there you go. That half shaft's out. This whole side is pretty much ready to go. It's just a matter of doing the other side and removing the straps that hold the universal joint on the drive shaft, and then the sucker will be ready to come out. I'll get to work on that. I didn't plan on doing this whole thing today. I'll probably at least get the half shaft out on the other side, get that done, then I'll leave the rest for another day and get back and I'll combine it all into one video. But anyway, let me get to that other side, and we're getting there. Okay, I'm on the other side of the car, and I was getting ready to take that half shaft out, and I got all the universal joint caps off except one bolt, and one bolt that's still on there. This isn't it. The one's still on there. It's seized on, and I'm gonna have to probably hit it with a torch, and I don't want to hit underneath there with a torch because you're close to the ABS sensor. I could remove the ABS sensor and all that. What I decided to do is put this over here, put this sucker to the work. I didn't realize it before when I was using it. I only have my air pressure set to like 75 psi. Let me get some better light over here. So I'm still going to leave it at 75 psi and see if I can break this. This gets torqued to, I believe it's 170 foot-pounds, or somewhere between 160 and 170 foot-pounds. I have heard people say that they changed it and it gets torqued to 200 foot-pounds. However, in the factory service manual, I believe it says 160 some pounds or something like that. I don't have it. I'll try and post it if I when I look it up, because I am going to torque it back on. So I'll just take this nut off and just take the whole half shaft out using the by sliding the spline end that goes into the rear hub bearing. So let me get this lined up where you can see it. Hopefully. I think. I hope you guys can see that. And I'll get to work on that. Okay, that whipped that sucker off real easy. Let's get under there. See if this sucker comes out. Which it should. I just lost my caps. coming out with something. Oh boy. There we go. If you tap that out, use something like this rubber dud blow hammer, or you can even use, they have special pullers. It looks like it's coming out fairly easy, so I'm not too worried about it. Punch or drift or something to finish driving it out. That ain't no biggie. Not in my opinion anyway, not for something like this. There we go, I got a nice soft brass punch here. And there we go. Right out now. There we go. Alright, remember these use a Teflon coated washer that has to go on a particular way. It's got like a taper in it. I hope you guys can see that. And here is the nut that is seized on. So take this over there like that. Now unfortunately, my caps, hopefully you guys can see that, my caps fell off while I was taking that out, unfortunately. So I'll, if I can get them on without no problem, if not, I got 2 replacements. These are in real good shape. At least they feel like it. There's no play in there or anything like that. And I'm going to have to go get my torch, which is in the basement. I'll bring it up here, I'll heat this up, and get that sucker out. I don't use anti-seize on these bolts. I use Loctite. In fact, if you buy new ones, they usually come with Loctite on them, these little bolts. Maybe you can see it here. See that little yellow piece on there? That's Loctite. So you're better off having these suckers, in my opinion, seized on there than coming off and causing all sorts of damage. I mean, like I said, you can, worst case, you'll have to take heat to it, unfortunately, or, you know, be patient with it. I mean, you can use lots of PB Blaster, whatever your favorite thing is. You're better off having this Loctited in. There's Loctite on these bolts for a reason. Same with the universal joint that's on your drive shaft. Same reason. Okay, I got the half shaft mounted in the vise. I'm going to get a torch, heat this up, take it off, and then I'll get getting the rest of the differential off. I could just leave this here and get the rest of the differential off, but I think I'll go ahead and get this off and out of the way first. That's it for now. Okay, it's the next morning, and I'm going to get under here and get this diff out. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can get under here. And hopefully you guys can see everything. But let's see. Yeah, you can see I got a jack supporting the transmission. Once you undo the C-beam, that's what supports the transmission and the motor from tilting back. There is no transmission support. The C-beam is transmission support. So the only thing I got to do is take out these 2 bolts and the 2 batwing bolts, and then lower it down with a transmission jack. I'll get to doing that. I already got a wrench up there, and that's probably the hardest thing, is holding that wrench up there. There's plenty of room up there to get the wrench. It's still a little tricky though. I'll get that up there and get to work, I guess. Let me see. Hopefully I can get you guys a good view. Let me see here. I'm hoping my battery, I forgot to charge my battery, so I'm hoping they don't die on me. I should have went ahead and just removed these arms altogether. They're a little bit in the way. is just about dead, but hopefully you guys can see this. And I was able to use this compact Earthquake XT half-inch impact with an extension, get behind the shock and onto that nut, and this made it a lot easier. And I can't, there's no way I can hold this and do that and operate everything at the same time. So let me see what I can do here. But it did work on the other side real well, and it should work on this side real well. See if I can get a decent view here somewhere. Hopefully you guys can see that. Oh well. Here we go. Yay! Now it is a little tough getting out, but it ain't that bad, so let me get this up here. You guys can see that. The bolt wants to come right out, which is good. There we go. That out. That out. The nut out. And I'll put the nut right back on there. Get everything out of the way. And we'll lower this sucker down and out. And you got to maneuver it a little bit when you do that. Alrighty, I'm in the basement, and I got the differential out. We'll go over and take a look at that. And I got the bat wing out. This is the differential I'll be putting in. The differential that I took out is still upstairs. It's upside down, sitting in the drain pan up there, getting completely drained. And this is the bat wing, in case anyone doesn't know what that is. And that attaches, that acts as the differential cover. And this also supports the leaf springs. And these ends here is what mounts to the frame. This is what supports the differential. And of course the C-beam attaches to the nose, which goes to the trans, and tail of the trans, and they kind of support each other like a bridge. And I'm going to be getting this all cleaned up. And last time I used the right stuff. Let me see if I can get this over for you. The right stuff on the differential cover. You can see it's on there. This stuff is really good. You actually have to knock this cover off with a rubber mallet in order to get it off. That's how good that stuff is. Now when I clean this up and put it back on, I'm going to try this product. I never used it before. Gear Oil Gasket Maker. Specialized formula for differentials and transfer cases. Resists friction modifiers. Now that being said, the right stuff I never had a problem with using the right stuff or any other type of good quality RTV with friction modifiers, but I'm going to use this anyway, and hopefully it will work as well as the other stuff did, as good as the right stuff did. The right stuff, what's nice about that is it's got like a 5-10 minute setup time. So you put the cover on and you put the sealant on, put the cover on, in about 10 minutes you're good to go. You can fill it with oil. This you got to wait 24 hours, which ain't no big deal because, well, this is sitting here attached to that with the sealer, setting up for 24 hours. And it'll probably be a lot more than 24 hours because I'm going to go over here. And I got my parking brake cables and replace those parking brake cables. I'll do a video on that. And of course when I fill this case, I'm going to be using AMS oil. Severe Gear. I think it's about 1.5 quarts. I'm going to get an exact measurement out of the factory service manual. I'll leave a link somewhere around in this video here. So I got my mufflers off and of course my complete exhaust off. I always like to give these a good cleaning, and I put a coat of actually put a coat of wax on there or polish. The stainless steel keeps the stainless steel, and it makes cleaning them real easy too. most of the time it just rubs right off. I don't know if you can see that, but which makes them look nice and shiny, which is what I like. And of course a bunch of other projects. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. I hope everybody enjoyed and learned something. So go down there and subscribe if you're not. Share with your friends, etc., etc. I hope everybody has a good day, and God bless.